Why is it so hard to make videos about Taiwan? I have thought about this video a lot over the past couple of days, and you and I are gonna go on a little journey to figure out the answer. If we were playing poker, I would be taking all of my chips and betting on you guys, my audience, to hopefully have the attention span for this. Because we're gonna start from like really far away. We're gonna start from an area that won't seem to make much sense, but hopefully by the end of the video, we will come to a conclusion. I wanna introduce you to my favorite game, probably of all time. This game right here is Shogun 2. It's a game that takes place in historical Japan. Now, I love history. I've always liked history. It was my favorite subject in school, and I really like Japanese history too. I know I sound like a bit of a weeb. Trust me, it won't be the first time in this video. Now, this game came out in 2011, almost 15 years ago, and I've played it pretty much nonstop. I have 921 hours sunk into this game, which is more embarrassing than it is impressive, I know. But I love this game because its setting is historical Japan, which is something I'm really interested in. And if you play this game, you can play in the Boshin War, which is a civil war that happened in Japan between the more traditional shogunate forces, who really wanted to keep Japan traditional with samurai and culture and all that kind of stuff, and the imperial forces which wanted to modernize Japan with Hello Kitty and anime titties. Pretty sure you can fact check me on that one. It's basically the plot of The Last Samurai, which is a movie I do enjoy. I know, again, I sound like a weeb. But anyways, if you play in the Boshin War, you can choose a side. You can choose to fight for the Imperials or the Shogunate. If you choose to fight for the Shogunate, you can choose to fight for a clan called the Aizu. And again, I know what you're thinking, Prazi, what the f are you talking about? How does this relate to the videos? This is not why I clicked. Trust me, we're gonna get there. Okay, so you can choose to fight for the Aizu, which are these guys with the cool black background and the yellow character. And anyways, I went to Japan, as you know, and to visit my buddy James, who lives in Fukushima, which just so happens to be exactly where the Aizu start. And so when I went to Japan, I was really excited to go check out some of the more historical stuff that relates exactly to this game that I've been playing for 15 years. I've been watching all this stuff virtually on my computer monitor without ever having the chance to go there and see it for myself. And my buddy James, without knowing any of my obsession with this video game, when I was there was like, hey, you wanna go see a castle? And I was like, yeah, I do. Let's go see a castle. And so he took me to Aizu, these guys' place. And again, I know you don't care. Just wait, we're gonna get there.
So you've taken me to Aizu.
I've taken you to Aizu Wakamatsu, yes.
Oh, the Shogunate!
Exactly, famous samurai town. Me and my friend, Chris Broad, don't know if you know. Yeah, we both agree that it's really impressive, so if you don't, you can blame him.
Right, I forgot that you've met Chris. I haven't met him yet.
Oh, Chris Broad? Oh yeah, Broad in Japan, yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
we're best friends, huh?
We're like that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he has like, I don't know how many million subscribers right now because of you.
So I was really excited to be in this place. Again, it's so cool to see it in person, and I definitely wasn't being a little bitch about it.
Oh man, do we have to climb all that? Okay, wow, is that an escalator?
It is an escalator.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but you have to pay for it. Like,
shut up. 250 yen to take an escalator?
Yeah.
I'm so out of shape. Okay. Impressive. Me and Chris abroad. Fucking British people. Okay, go on then.
I was being a little bit of a bitch, especially because it was super nice of James to show me around for the week I was with him. And he was looking for stuff for us to do. James, he's the friggin' man. And showing me this place was like a highlight of my trip. It was so cool. And so we go up all of these crazy stairs again, wasn't being a bitch. And he shows me these graves of these guys from the White Tiger Force, which is like a group of soldiers that is special to Aizu. You can even play as them in this frickin' game, and my mind was like blown. And the story behind these guys is really interesting because they were up on this hill that me and James were on, and they could see their castle out in the distance, and they thought it was on fire, but turns out it was just, you know, they're using gunpowder guns back then, and so there was lots of smoke from the guns being fired off, and the castle wasn't on fire. And these kids, basically, they're like 17-year-olds, these White Tiger Forts, were like, hey, should we go check on the castle and make sure it's not on fire? No, I think we should just commit Sudoku or whatever. And so that's what happened. And they, you know, did the honorable thing in Japan and basically offed themselves without realizing the castle was actually fine at that time. That story is so interesting that some Germans in like the 30s went to Japan and heard about this story and donated this really cool statue in their honor, which, you know, a lot of Nazi memorabilia in my videos these days. I'm not really too sure why.
So who donated this?
Mussolini.
No way. That's a Mussolini statue.
Yeah.
That this pillar may stand as proof of the greatness of fascism for thousands of years. It's really crazy how simple Japanese graves are compared to Taiwanese graves. Taiwanese graves, if you go and look at them, they're very ornate.
So he's looking out towards the castle, which we should be able to see.
There's a castle out there?
Yeah.
Taiwanese temple would look somewhat similar to this, except it wouldn't be just left wooden. It would be painted.
All brightly coloured and stuff. Yeah, I saw all of that. Because it's like this big spiral, you don't walk the same path, so it's like leaving the past behind you, like you're walking through this.
No, I was so happy with my life. Get me back. Taiwanese are like Chinese mythology. They have a bridge that you cross when you die. The old lady, this old witch, meets you there. When she meets you, she offers you some soup. And if you drink your soup, you forget your past life and you come back reincarnated. If you don't drink the soup, then she gets angry and stabs your face with these pokers. And that's why people have dimples. Wow, it is very pretty. And like Taiwan has some very pretty places too. I got hired to go to Pingdong County and they had a Japanese Shinto shrine. So it had this looking thing and something just like this. I remember so many Taiwanese people in my comments were so pissed off because they were like, you're here to promote Taiwanese culture and the government is here with this like Japanese shrine. Like, have we nothing?
And so I asked James if we can actually like go to the castle and see it, because I've been virtually bombing or switching sides and defending this castle for like 15 years. And he's like, yeah, we can go see it. And I was like, hell yeah. And if you thought that this traditional castle wasn't gonna have Japanese anime titties in it, you were wrong.
Classic, amazing castle, anime titties. Anyone who's played Shogun 2 has played these clans. The way they label it, beautifully built high stone walls, like they're just patting themselves on the back a bit.
These are the beautifully constructed stone walls.
They're so beautifully constructed, you're not allowed on them.
Yeah. These trees, they cost so much money to maintain. We had one in our garden. People will come and polish the needles because they get these like this like blue kind of fur on them. And if you leave it on there too long, like a kind of mold, kind of virus thing, it will kill the tree. And people will come along and like rub it all off.
So this tree needs to be maintained by individually cleaning off the pine needles?
People will come with a cloth and just scrape it all off.
No way!
Yep, and there's loads of them here. And if you go to the Royal Palace, they'll have hundreds of them. And it's just like such a flex because you need so many people to maintain it. It cost us 40,000 yen to get people to come do it.
For one time?
For one time.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
In Taiwan, we have betel nut trees. You climb them and they give you tree crack and mouth cancer.
Yeah.
You trust the water here? I can't believe this. Dude, in Taiwan, you'd be dead already.
We're in Fukushima. That's irradiate. Clean. Fucking hell.
What a view. Oh, the sunset. James.
Oh, babe.
Can we watch it on the beautifully constructed wall? These are beautifully constructed walls.
Just take a moment and look at these walls.
Beautifully constructed, I must say.
What? It's pretty cool that you can walk on top of these walls.
James, excuse me. These are not just any walls. These are beautifully constructed. You animal. Culturally swine.
How dare?
Bye, Aizu Castle. See you in my video game.
Okay, so how does all of that relate to my video topic today? So my first idea for this video was like, I really wish Taiwan had more of this type of thing, these really cool historical sites or these cultural sites that you can go visit and get interested in and be passionate about, right? I started playing this game 15 years ago and it just like got me into this whole thing, but Taiwan doesn't have that. But I've been beating that drum a little bit too long lately, so I didn't want to make that video. And then I thought, well, maybe I could switch it and say what's my favorite thing about Taiwan, because the thing about Japan is that all of these like historical places, these things that happened in their past, form what we know today as like Japanese culture, and Japanese people are like governed and beholden, is that a word? To their culture, and it dictates what they do and say or don't do and their experiences and how they think and how they feel. And it makes them different. They're very much like an isolated country, and they're very homogenous. And so it's this idea of like, we are Japanese, this is us, and you guys are not, you're something else. Even Taiwanese people experience this when they go to Japan. They're kind of othered, right? You guys are foreigners, you're not us. And so it's very difficult to make Japanese friends and to talk to them unless you get them really drunk, apparently. The really cool thing about Taiwan is that, yeah, it has history and it has a lot of culture, but I don't feel like Taiwanese people are as tied to it or as governed by it as, say, Japanese people are or Chinese people are or other countries. They're a lot more open-minded. You know, yeah, they have different religious practices and different festivals and different things to us as Westerners, but it doesn't have a huge effect on how they treat foreigners. I find that here in Taiwan, they don't treat you necessarily as a foreigner. They're often really interested in sharing their own culture and they want to be friends with you. For example, if you go to like a temple and you know, maybe you're worried about doing the wrong thing or saying the wrong thing, Taiwanese people, for the most part, don't care. They just want to go with you and share it with you and make sure you have a good time. And I mean, obviously, if you know the rules, you shouldn't try and break them. But if you don't know, Taiwanese people aren't going to yell at you. They're not going to get angry because you did the wrong thing. They're very relaxed and they're very open and they're just so cool. And I love that about Taiwanese people. But I didn't want to make that video because I was like, who cares what my favorite thing about Taiwan is? No one's going to watch it. It's a little bit too positive. If you know anything about YouTube, you know that if you want views, you should skew more to like the negativity of things. People don't like clicking on positive things for the most part. So despite the fact that I do get this question asked to me all the time, what's your favorite thing about Taiwan? I know that people won't really actually click on that video, but you know, the longer that you live in Taiwan, the more convoluted and complicated that answer to that question gets. A lot of people will just say it's convenient, or it's beautiful, or it's cheap. I'm gonna show you a map, Google Maps. All of these purple icons that you see here are different cultural or historical monuments or whatever that you can go see in Japan. They're everywhere, and all of them are cool. I like to go to see all of them. I loved it. James blew me away with the stuff he was showing me. He knocked it out of the park, okay? Taiwan, it's a smaller country, has a lot less of that, and so it's a lot more difficult to make videos about Taiwan because it's a lot more difficult to get to the heart of Taiwanese culture. It's difficult to take your finger and point at something that is definitively Taiwanese. Again, I know I've said this in videos in the past and I've been beating this drum for a long time, but it makes it really difficult for me as a foreigner to make videos about Taiwan. I think my friend Ku, who I did the military challenge with, does a really good job at somehow striking at the heart of Taiwanese culture, and so lots of people watch his videos. I'm not as good at making videos as he is, and so my problem is that I have to juggle my Taiwanese audience who's watching right now, who are interested in watching videos about Taiwan from a foreigner's perspective, but I also have a pretty sizable Western audience that I've had for a really long time who are interested in, you know, other things. And so, I don't know, I think, does this make any sense? And I know it sounds like I am complaining about this amazing job that I have. I mean, I did work really hard to get to this position, and I'm super happy that I get to be a YouTuber. I'm not complaining about being a YouTuber. I love this job. I just wanted to highlight maybe some of the difficulties, because it's like so many people when they ask me like, oh, what do you do? It's like, oh, I'm a YouTuber, I make videos, which I hate saying because it sounds really douchey. But then they're like, oh, what do you make content about? Like Taiwanese people ask this question all the time. Like, what about Taiwan? Like, what is there even to talk about? Like, they don't even know most of the time, and neither do I. Like, I don't know what I'm doing most of the time. It's a really difficult question to answer. But I find that this topic, like these type of things, these cultural things, these anthropologic topics, endlessly interesting. And the longer I stay in Taiwan, the more questions pop up than I have answers, but the more I kind of fall in love with this place, the more I feel like I can fit in here, and the more I feel like this is my home. And it's easy to do that in Taiwan for all of the reasons that I mentioned before. It's very difficult to do that in other countries like Japan. So to James, thank you so much. I had such a cool time in Fukushima. Me and him did other stuff too. We went to a Taiwanese restaurant in Japan that had no Taiwanese people working there. I'll give you a guess as to where the people were from. We went to the Fukushima nuclear disaster area. I have these videos, but I'm not sure if I want to release them because, again, don't know if anyone cares. And I've already made so much content in Japan, I'm not really sure if I want to continue. You guys can let me know in the comments below. And of course, let me know what you think about making content in Taiwan. I think a lot of people don't really know what they want to watch, but if you feel like you do, let me know. What do you think about this whole situation? Am I even making any bloody sense? With all that said and done, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you found this interesting. You can follow me on Instagram at @Prozzy_SR. Keep your stake on the ice. Catch you guys next week for another video.